everybody, welcome back for another sublimation tutorial. Today we're going to look at how to sublimate onto metal. This little metal heart is just from the dollar store that I picked up. So I'm going to show you two ways that work to sublimate onto metal, and then also just show you what happens if you sublimate directly onto the metal. We'll do that one first, and then we'll move to a sublimated laminate pouch, and then the Cricut vinyl glitter in white. I'll show you how to sublimate onto that as well. So we'll move on to the first one, which is just sublimating onto the metal plate. So you will want to take your metal plate and have your heat mat down. These little cords come out of here. You can just pop them out and take your tag off also. Just like so, and now that cord is not in the way. So you'll go ahead and do that. You will want to put parchment paper down so that way you don't get ink and stuff all on your mat, as I have. So you'll lay it down like that, and we're just going to directly place the image onto the heart. All right, so once you have your image in place, you're just gonna tape it down with some heat resistant tape. I have the blue Cricut resistant tape. It seems to work pretty well for me. So once you have that tape down, you'll place another piece of parchment paper onto your image. And then you'll press for 400 degrees at 60 seconds. All right, so let's take that off and see what we have here. At this time, when you go to remove your image, do let it cool off until it's touchable. We are sublimating onto metal, so it's gonna be very hot. So either use the heat resistant gloves or wait until it's completely cooled down to prevent any burns. All right, so I have my heat resistant glove on. I'm gonna go ahead and lift the image very carefully. And as you can see, it did absolutely nothing, which is why you want to either use the laminate pouch, which I will show you next, or any kind of vinyl that is sublimatable on. So we'll move along and do the sublimating pouch and show you the results with that. All right, so we're gonna do the sublimation with a laminate pouch. You do wanna make sure that it is thermal laminating pouches. If it's not thermal, it'll just melt and you're gonna have a really hard time. So you should have a pouch that looks like this, and it'll peel in half, so you can have two sheets of it. So you'll notice there's a shiny side and a more matte side. You always want the matte side to be down. So go ahead and just place this on as flat as possible. And if you're like me, you haven't waited to let the metal cool off from the last try, that's okay. You can just see it's already kind of melted a little bit, and we're going to melt it down even more right now. You'll place your parchment paper over it, or butcher's paper, whatever you use, and do 400 degrees for about 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds. Okay, so we'll remove that. And you should have a pretty flat surface there. Again, be very careful, and we are gonna let it cool off. If you have little bubbles, don't worry too much about that right now. But if you are, you can go through with a scraping tool and just scrape the bubbles out real gently. But we will sublimate onto it again, which is gonna heat it up even more and get rid of those wrinkles and bubbles for you. So we'll go ahead and let that cool off until we can handle it, and then we'll move on to sublimating the image onto the laminate sheet. All right, so now that it's cooled off enough to be able to handle it, we're gonna go ahead and put our image into place. And you're just gonna center your image downwards to wherever you wanna place it. Once you have it placed, be very careful not to move it. And then we will tape it down, that way it stays in place when we go to heat it. right, so we'll put our parchment paper back over. This time we'll do 400 degrees for 60 seconds. All right, so we're done with that one. We'll gently remove our heat press. And again, be very careful and wait for your metal to cool down until you handle it. All right, so it has cooled off a little bit. I still do have my heat resistant glove on to protect from burning, but we'll go ahead and gently peel back our image. And you can see now from the first time, you have really pretty vibrant colors now that you have that laminate sheet down, and it shows really, really well. It's really, really pretty. We'll go ahead and let this cool off all the way, and then we'll cut off our excess laminate sheet from around it and cut out the little holes. All right, so it has cooled off at this point enough to be able to completely handle it. You can go ahead and remove your pad and your parchment paper, or just take it out of your press, whichever you're using. And this, you can either use scissors. I use a little X-Acto knife, and we will go ahead and just trim right around the edges just to get a smooth look. All right, so now that that's all cut out and traced out, you got a really cute little wall decoration or a little hanger, whatever you are going to use it for. So that was the laminate pouch, the thermal laminate pouch that we just sublimated on, and it gave a really cute, really nice, colorful result. So the next one, we'll go ahead and move on to using the Cricut white glitter and see how it sublimates onto that. All right, so now that we have our vinyl cut out, our glitter vinyl and our imaging cut out, we'll go ahead and get our vinyl tacked to the metal plate and then get our imaging taped to the vinyl. With this, once we get the vinyl on, we do gotta be somewhat quick because the vinyl does tend to at times shrink a little bit. So your imaging will be a little bit bigger than your vinyl. So we do have to move a little bit quicker when working with the vinyl. When you go to put your vinyl on, you just want to tack it on. So I usually do 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 seconds, more usually 15. And then you want to let it cool just for a little bit, but then move to right to getting your images placed onto it and getting them taped down and heated. So we'll go ahead and do that. I do have all my little images cut out. I did happen to do the cut and print with Cricut. I chose a very intricate design apparently, so we'll try to line up these little images or lines as best as we can, but if you have a less intricate design, it's going to work a little bit better for you. Or you can just sublimate, put your vinyl all the way around, cut out the image, and then sublimate onto it and not have to worry about lining anything up. But I thought it'd be cool to try it this way to see how it goes, and we'll see how it comes out. So we'll go ahead and put our vinyl into place. All right, then we're going to cover it with parchment paper. And be very careful at this time because I did find that the vinyl can kind of slide around a little bit. So you want to be really careful not to be moving your press too much. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just gently slide it off. Remove your parchment paper and then very gently remove the top layer. And if it starts to lift, you can just roll it back down and just kind of tap it back down. All right, so that went on real nicely. It is on there. So like I said, let it cool for a little bit, but we do want to get going on getting the images on. So I'll go ahead and start doing that. And when you do put your images, they're obviously gonna be upside down. So you just wanna make sure that they're lined up nicely on your vinyl. Okay, so you have them lined up. On certain ones, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of heat resistant tape just to keep them in place. Okay, so now that we have those slightly taped into place, we'll go ahead and get our parchment paper placed over it. And this time we will press for 400 degrees for 60 seconds. It out, that way you're not moving anything. You'll remove your parchment paper and then you'll let it set for just a minute until it cools off a little bit. And then you'll start removing your imaging. All right, so you can go ahead and start removing your imaging. Again, just be very gentle. All right, so this is the final product with the Cricut glitter vinyl. If you do use the Cricut print and cut, just make sure you're lining everything up really nicely or have an image that's not as intricate. But it's a really cute product. It's really vibrant colors, nice and sparkly. And it just gives a little, almost a 3D effect, if you can kind of see that. It's really cute. And then this is the sublimation one on the laminate sheet that we did. Also really nice colors, really cute. So either way, it's a really good technique for sublimating onto metal. Whichever you prefer works really well. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and boop that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share for others so they can get helped as well. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting.